Yo, Papa Jube in the house. Welcome to the Better Days Show podcast.
Welcome, Jube Altino on the Better Days Show podcast. What's good, Jube? Or should I say, Sakafet?
Man, respect, Mad Soul. Good to see you again. It's been many years, man. Mad love to you, my brother.
Yeah, no
Jose,
doubt.
no one for me.
No doubt, man.
Yes, sir.
It's an honor, having you here on the Better Days.
Likewise.
Yeah, no doubt. Jube, I wanted to know, how did you got started in the music game?
Well, Mad Soul, we all get our start from somewhere. I was fortunate. My father's a minister, and I'm a Baptist minister, and my mother's also a preacher as well. So my father, aside from being a minister, is also a choir director prior to him becoming a minister. So being a choir director, an accordion player, organ player, it naturally transcended to us, and music has always been around us. So that's where I got first exposed to music in church, playing with my father's church, listening to him play, listen to him teach the choir and stuff like that, and eventually, it took a different form into us, and this is what we step out of.
You got the inspiration from your father, the church, and all that for your solo stuff that you were doing. Was it mainly Haitian music, or you were always dabbling into both?
Well, like I said, like I started in music in Haiti, with my father, from birth. And then when we moved here, I came here around 9 years old. And I was able to continue to do that here in the States with much more, availability of resources and stuff. So I was able to sort of focus on that. But as far as my stuff came about, because politics was always another side of me. And I wanted to connect the political views that I have at that time with my music. And I think that's how my project came about as Papa Jube. Wanted to teach, wanted to inform, wanted to spit, wanted to talk about, the movement at that time, and all my songs were songs that were considered engaged, you know what I mean? The album was Democracy, you know what I mean? So the songs were Bible, Soldier, you know what I mean? So it was mostly a very engaged, because I was dealing with the political aspect of Haiti at that time. Was Aristide, we had embargo going on. There was a lot of things that was the whole landscape of the political, socio-economical aspect of, politics in Haiti was changing. So I felt my generation at that time, I was in my early 30s, maybe 31, late 20s, early 30s. I felt like, I had just, got out of college. So I felt compelled to do something. So that was that product. So I had got together with Fabrice Rousier, who is also a major producer in Haiti. So he sort of helped me, put my thoughts together because he was more experienced, older than me at that time. So, that's how that came about.
Oh, that's what's up. And any of that music was released before?
No, none of that music was released before. Everything was released under Melody Makers, which was a side imprint of Island Records. And that's what I did my thing on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. And what was Melody production based out of?
It was based out of Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at a time, you were dealing with Roughhouse, right?
Right. Well, that came about after. After I did my career, I did my album, I put together a band, I travel, I tour with Sting, Peter Gabriel, a lot of different artists, and then I decided I didn't want to continue, be the artist anymore, be up front. I thought I could be more effective being in the background, and so I fell back, and I took a break off of performing, and I sort of honed my skills as a producer, and it landed me a deal with Roughhouse, where I was working with Cannabis, Rascals, Killer Priest, Corrupt, and the whole, Four Horsemen movement, and many other artists. So that's that. Once I got into that zone, it never came back. So
okay,
you know how that is.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're working with, like the Four Horsemen, people like
Absolutely.
Cannabis. Were
Hmm.
you doing production?
Production. I was doing production
Hmm.
and recording the vocals, part of the whole project. Cutting samples with them and pretty much helping them, arrange and put the whole thing together. Yeah.
Since we're talking about recording, as far as like instrument, I know you play a lot of instrument.
Right.
Tell the people, what instruments you play.
Well, bass, bass is my instrument. I'm a bassist. If I had to pick one, I would have to go to the bass. But I do dabble, like most producers, into a little bit of keyboard, a little bit of guitar. You know what I mean? So, we play some horn, some Haitian horn stuff, and we dabble. Yeah. But bass is the instrument solid that we play.
At a time, you started working at SOBS. What was your position there? What were you doing over there
Well,
at SOBs?
I started SOBs right after probably in maybe 2000.
Hmm.
And I started as a talent, scout, more or less a talent buyer. I was mostly booking for urban Caribbean music.
Oh, that
So
that word urban.
I
Jesus
know,
Christ.
I know that's like that's a forbidden word right now, right? We're trying to change that to something
Urban.
else.
Okay. All
I mean,
right.
I'm from that
So,
era, man, where we had urban music. You know what I mean? And
right.
urban music meant black music, in my era.
Right.
So if they're changing it now, I have to, see what it is. But if I was to describe, my title was pretty much urban music director and Caribbean music director and stuff like that. I was booking, marketing, and sort of, doing a lot of things with the club as far as like making sure the club operates, 100%.
Hmm.
So yeah, I spent 16 years there, and I still have ties with them. It's still cool. SOBs will always be our home. I love SOBs.
And you started a segment night over there. Something you
We
were
started
booking
Soul
the
Village. We
Soul
started Soul
Village.
Village.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how John Legend got signed out of Soul Village,
Mm.
right downstairs by Kanye. So that was one of the biggest claim to fame of that, And we had a band. The band was called The Collective. We had China Black at that time. All the guys that were really playing for these artists at that time.
Hmm.
So we had a sort of revolving doors of upcoming soulful and more or less neo soul artists. We could say like from Erica Badu, Jill Scott. At that time, we had Bilal, Music Soul Child. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Those type of artists, and then we create that synergy within that soul village, and we were catering more towards that neo soul, like
Right.
like I said, Bilal, where
Right.
there's Africanism, Pan Africanism meets soul and jazz. You know what I mean? With the culture, So that's what we were dealing with at that soul village, and
Yeah.
it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. And well, while I have you here, I want to say thank you again because you will always have me, opening up for most of those nights. You know.
You were one of the few DJs I can call on to do Haitian, to do American hip hop. I know hip hop was your forte,
Hmm.
but like you dabble with Haitian. You like me, you were
Right.
hip hop and urban DJ, but you dabble in Haitian.
Right.
You dabble in everything else, but you always came through. Whatever it is that I needed from you, man, you were always there to deliver. So you're a very versatile DJ, and respect to that, man. Respect.
Thank you. You had a Haitian Caribbean night that was on Fridays,
On a
right?
Friday night, yeah, Manhattan Haitian dance party.
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
some of the bands you booked there?
everybody played there. From Class, Tabu Combo, Kassav,
Hmm.
Zengland, you name the band.
Hmm.
Every single the whole catalog of Afro Caribbean music, they
Right.
play there consistently. So
Right.
it was one of the most successful. We ran that for 17 years straight. It was powerful, man. But everything has its run, and I think the music, the landscape of Haiti's changing, the
Hmm.
cultural fabric of Haiti's changing. The compa is not it's not the prevalent, music that's loved by the youth. They're more into the Rob or Die and some other stuff. So while that culture change, we have to also evolve with it.
Right.
So that's where we at right now.
And you did a Afrobeat night there too.
Yes, I did with Kid, a night with Kid. It was really cool. Great artist.
Yeah. Talking
Great
about
music.
artists, I seen your credits on Wyclef Jean. Tell us about that, man.
Well,
What's going
as an
on?
OG man,
Yeah.
as an OG, when another brother reached out to me, Cliff reached out, he was doing a Caribbean album like Carnival 3,
Mhm.
and he wanted some Haitian flavored stuff, so we get together. Cliff is a brother. We're always together. We always talk. We're always doing other things. He's my kid's godfather. You know what I mean? And we grew up together. So I've known him since he was a child. And vice versa. My parents know his parents, and vice versa. So we very close as a family.
Yeah.
So it was great. As before, I've done before, just collaborate. Did the production, and he did the vocals and arranged everything else, and it was great. It was great working with him. Absolutely.
So you knew Wyclef since in Haiti?
Since '80, absolutely. We came from the same place, Bouquet.
Oh,
Yeah, and
okay.
his father being a preacher, his father had a church. My father had a church, and we used to go. They used to collaborate
Hmm.
with choirs, come to each other. So that's how we met back then. And we came here. We migrated to Jersey. He lived in East Orange, and I live in Irvington. So it's right near, as you know, it's border town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was able to we're able to connect here again. So it's been a great journey with me,
Were you guys playing soccer out there?
Um,
Because y'all
I thought
wasn't doing music, right?
no, no. Well, Clef was doing music more or less. I wasn't doing music. I was mostly heavy into academics. You know what I mean? And I started my music late. Clef was playing since a little kid. He was playing guitar, trumpet. He was doing everything. He's really a bona fide musician. He's been doing it, baby. So
And the Altino family.
right.
Jesus, you guys are like the Jacksons.
Right. Well, we had
Y'all,
two
y'all
musical.
play all kinds of instrument, made hits for everybody. I guess like you said, that came from your dad being
Right, my
uh,
uncles and
your
yeah,
uncles.
yeah. So the whole family sort of played music because most of my uncles are preachers as well. So
Hmm.
their sons also play music. We have Arden Altino, who's my cousin.
Hmm.
He's a producer. He's produced stuff for Jay-Z, for Mary J. Blige, Justin Bieber,
Hmm.
John Legend, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, you name it. He's credited to producing these artists. He won few awards, Grammys, and all. And we have the Altino brothers, which is another set of cousins. They do classical. They
Okay.
played at Lincoln Center and so forth and so on. So it's in the family, man. It's a trait. Music is part of us. It's what we do. You
Yeah,
know.
man.
Yeah.
Cause I check you guys' materials, and it's crazy. You know,
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
it's crazy. Describe a Jube sound. How would you describe it?
Well, a Jube sound is sort of a fusion of different rhythms. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
really love Haitian traditional Haitian roots music, that voodoo music. I love that music.
Mm.
I'm not a master at it, but I love it so much that it sort of influenced a lot of my music.
Hmm.
And I also love rock and roll. You know what I mean? So, and I love soul music. So I think that's the three, genre that really I like. I like that soul, rock, and that voodoo music. So I think my sound is, lies somewhere between those three elements and other inspiration that may come through. Because music, it's a free inspirational thing. So anything comes. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. So, for a kid that's coming up in the game, what advice would you give them?
Well, for a kid that's coming up in the game, I have to say first and foremost, they are blessed in a greater sense to be born in these times because of the resources available to them.
Hmm.
And I'm talking precisely about the internet and the positive use of it. I mean, I think the greatest asset is knowledge, and I think that through the internet, one can really engage and acquire a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, and utilize them as far as from marketing to whatever it is that you need to know. I think you can really reach to, you can really, acquire those information much more easier than when I was growing up. I had to read books. I had to go to the library. I had to go to the music library in the city, just to get a book to learn about, what publishing means. You know what I mean? Where these days on their phone, they can access, much more information than I could ever access back then
Right.
with the books. So I think they should really indulge into acquiring information and then practice your craft, man, and really making sure that you have a concept, a short term, a mid-term, a long-term plan. Where do you see yourself? You know what I mean? And so that a plan is very essential because the notion of doing, yes, we have a lot of resources, but then it becomes the way the music is aggregated is very fast. People consume music fast, like bubble gum, like fast food.
Right.
So it's like quick and rejected. Like a song is a hit for a minute and it's gone. You know what I mean? It's not like no one is writing, legacy music like my generation and beyond. You know what I mean? And before. So therefore, the marketing is different. It's a short, they have a short lifespan. So you
Right.
have to really, prepare yourself, and just basically utilize anything and everything you have at your disposal. And I think once you do that, and I think you're in good shape.
Yeah. And also picking up some type of instrument to learn how to play.
Absolutely, absolutely. That helps. That's very key. What you just mentioned, very key.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. The older generation, they all played some instruments, whether from Michael Jackson to all of them. They all
Right.
played different instruments. Even to write music, you need to at least understand what music is to be a musician, to do music. You know what I mean? To do art, you have to understand what music is. You don't have to be a instrumentist where you're a violinist or a guitarist or a keyboardist, but you have to understand the basics of music. Yeah.
You actually in the band that Wyclef have going on there because I saw you on tour playing. What instrument was that?
Well, I play a voodoo horn, which is a horn that was this. I think it's the last instrument that was made in the century. It's man-made in Haiti
Hmm.
out of aluminum. And they make it and they tune it somehow, just like a piano. And pretty much it has the seven notes and it has sharps and the flats, and it's used for traditional voodoo music ceremony. But I learned how to play it in Haiti, and we incorporated it in clash music, just to really bring that flavor in because it's such a impressive instrument when these the fans, whether it's white fans or any foreigners, see that sound and hear that sound. There's a profound feeling to it.
Hmm.
So when we play it, it's very captivating, and that's why we bring it in. It's called Cleon. Cleon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Cleon. Yeah.
For your production, what are some of albums that you produced before?
Um, Quite a few stuff. I work with a lot of different artists from the French community. One of the notable artists that I produced was Acacia. He's still pretty big today. He's a Zouk artist from Africa.
Hmm.
Sold millions of records. Then I did Tonton David as well, who's sort of a Bob Marley of France. I did I Am NTM, which is very, very huge sort of rap stars in France.
In
I did
France.
Tanya Saint-Var. Yes, did produce Kassav. Work with, did, of course, Cannabis, the Killer Priest, the whole Four Horsemen project.
Hmm.
Did special stuff with Kraskaz, a lot of production with him at the West Coast. Um, Who else? I would say work with Beanie Man, produce stuff with him. Produce stuff with what's just really artists. Yellow Man. Well, I used to play bass for Yellow Man. I used to play bass for Sister Carol as well, and I produced sort of 6 songs on one album of Sister Carol's album. So yeah, I used to work with a lot of different artists. Man, we can go on list on and on, but I work with so many artists, man. There's so many from Trinidad, Three Canal, just different artists, man. Different artists, yeah. Yeah.
Any up and coming project we should be looking out for?
Yeah. 3 years ago, I signed a young set of twins from Scotland. They Scottish, young, white young ladies, very soulful singers. They're twins, identical twins. And I've been working with them for a while. Now they're in school now. They're 21. They're trying to finish law school. And as soon as they finish, they're going to move here, and then we're going to be sort of like take this full time. But we've been working with them for the past 2 years. We've got some songs with them, and we're developing them. That's where we are right now as far as this next project.
Okay. Any project that might be in the work with Wyclef?
Yeah, I'm working on a Netflix project that he's doing right now with this cartoonist called Silverman. He's a very famous cartoonist. He does stuff for Netflix. Wyclef is contracted to do a whole documentary about Wyclef's childhood and from birth into where he's at today, narrating that. So I'm in charge of the music for that. So that's been keeping me very busy, in touch with Wyclef. We're together pretty much 3-4 times a week in the studio trying to get that together. So I'm sort of a music director for him on that project with Netflix. So that's a very exciting project that I'm working on. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be, be part of this.
Yes, sound exciting. Can't wait to hear it.
For sure. I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. As COVID-19 affected, your situation right now as far as touring,
absolutely.
I know it
absolutely.
is, but
But
how do you feel about it? About this whole thing?
This whole thing, man. The way I feel about it, it's sort of it's sad to say, man, but I think it wasn't. It was a situation where, if you have compromised immune system, it definitely take you out. I lost a lot of family. Friends, you know what I mean? And at first we didn't know what it was, with bad leadership in politics and other stuff like that. So things were confused. But I think by now we got a grip of what it is.
Right.
And, we learned to live with it. You know what I mean? So it's another change. I mean, that's what we got to deal with. Humanity, comes with changes. You know what I mean? So, and things are changing. We'll continue to change. And, we just gotta, roll with the punches, man. And I think black people, we're resilient. We are the perfect example of resiliency, because from what we've been through, from slavery to everything else, and we're still here, and we're still out here winning. Some of us, that tells us who we are. So I think we're gonna get through this whole thing, with whether it's COVID, whatever they come through, we're gonna rise above, and we will conquer, because we are people of the sun. We're people of love, man. And they can try, but no man can conquer us, bro. Love conquers all, and that's just why I see it.
And Jube, you have a juice bar up in Jersey. Where in Jersey?
Yes, as again, with the power of economics, we had to diversify our investment. So last year, about 2 years ago, I acquired a space in Jersey City, downtown Jersey City, right outside the Holland Tunnel, which is a rising community that's really, booming out here. It's downtown Jersey City. And, with the proximity of being in Manhattan, so a lot of people are moving out of there. So I was able to acquire a nice little space, and I opened up a vegan restaurant and juice bar. And we sell 100% soul vegan food, which is like with a Haitian flavor. So everything that's veganism, like we do all type of my moulin, all type of, but all vegan style. You know what I mean? We do patat with potatoes. That's mostly plant-based food, 100% plant-based food. A lot of juices and booster shots to boost your immune system and stuff like that. It's a place where you can find anything that has to do with the whole health ecosystem. We sell books about vegan. We have literatures and everything else. Beauty supply that's vegan. Anything you need that's vegan, we have it. So that's where we at, right downtown Jersey City. And the Instagram for that is at Vibe Juice Cafe.
Okay. And
yes, sir.
Do you have a spot for me to DJ?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a spot for you to DJ. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We're
gonna start running.
Eating some maimole and drinking some
vegan.
good
vegan
juice.
Wine, brother.
That's what's
and
up.
Juices.
Okay.
No problem. All right, baby.
And how can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Jube Altino, Jube Altino, Altino.